Welcome to Parks and Passports Podcast. Join Mike and Bryan
and Eric
as they discuss some of the latest news from the world of Disney and Universal parks. Plus, hear from other experienced travel experts and have some fun along the way. Be sure to keep all hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the vehicle at all times. It's going to be a wild ride.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Parks and Passports Podcast. Two-man show this episode. I'm Mike Mack, Eric Hiles is here.
Hello all, and welcome to the dynamic duo of Theme Park and Passport Podcast.
Yeah, no Bryan this week. We don't have a special guest. We will, I promise, we are going to get a special guest to join us once again at some point. The Destinations Travel Advisors are eager to share their travel expertise and experiences with you. We have a whole bunch lined up, but this particular episode, our timing just didn't really work out all that well. So just me and Eric today, and we're still going to have all our usual fun. We'll talk some news. Our main topic today is the Universal Mardi Gras event that is coming up very soon. Actually, as of the release of this episode, we're about a week away, 8 days, I think, to be exact. So we'll be talking about Universal Mardi Gras. And of course, we're going to have a game and we'll have our deal of the week. So let's jump right into the news, since we don't have unless you have any hot takes you want to share.
Well, it's just a more intimate podcast this week, right? So, we get to be more of ourselves without, having to kowtow to Bryan. In any way, shape, or form, right? Because he tends to want to steal our things and come up with, take away our games and beat me on all of these stuff. So you're just stuck with me and the lovely and talented Mike Mack here.
He does. I think it's the first time I've ever been called lovely in my life. He does tend to steal your picks in a lot of different games and things we do, which for me is very entertaining as a neutral third party. All right, let's jump right into some news here. We're going to start off in Walt Disney World. And first piece of news here is really just that the Epcot International Festival of the Arts has begun. Our last episode, you can go back and check that out. We talked all about Festival of the Arts. It is my favorite Epcot festival. It has kicked off this year, and I got out there opening weekend. You can check out my experience on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/D2Travel. I did things a little bit differently this time. So I put the call out to all of the Destinations of Travel Advisors to suggest some of the food. The foodie guide is out on the Disney Parks blog, so you can see all the menus and everything. We talked about it again on the last episode. But I asked for suggestions on what I should try, but I did not see those suggestions. I had my wife Jess put together a list for me on a little notepad, and so I went into the Festival of the Arts not knowing what I was going to be eating, and then I looked at one page at a time and went and tried different suggestions from the Destination Travel Advisor. It was a really fun experience. It was a cool way to do it. Very cool.
I like getting the input from everybody across the agency so that we can make sure that we have a diversity of opinion in here. There's a lot of stuff that come up that I don't really know about or have firsthand experience. So it's great to tap into the depth and breadth of the entire travel agent community here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is part of what you do, right? When you work with a Destination to Travel Advisors, you get their advice, you get some suggestions on things to try when you're on your vacation. So I figured, hey, let me try that out myself. And it worked really, really well. I had a great time. I tried a lot of foods that I would not have normally ordered. I got the taiyaki, that chocolate fish pastry from Japan, which, by the way, does not have fish in it. Just so
of course,
if you were concerned. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's a custard-filled. It's a custard-filled chocolate pastry. It was delicious. There was a lot. I had, unfortunately, and I mean, I guess fortunately/unfortunately, a lot of the suggestions were dessert. I ate about 7 desserts that day, I think. So it was a lot of sugar. But it was. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Luckily, I was, walking around Epcot too, so that kind of helped with that. But yeah, it was. So again, check out that video on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/D2Travel. to see that whole experience that I'm talking about. But the
Yeah.
Festival of the Arts is great too. I mean, the Disney on Broadway exhibit is back in the Communicore Plaza. There's live music. There's the artists, the chalk art. So much cool stuff to see. So yeah, love Festival of the Arts.
Sweet. And just remembered that Disney calories do not count.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's a little bit different when you're on vacation as opposed to when you live here, because if I don't count those, I mean, I'm just not
Oh,
counting half my calories.
you could grow large with food really quickly if you happen to be there all the time and partaking of it.
I like the politically correct, you grow large with food.
I stole that from The Simpsons. That's an old
Oh,
one
nice.
from
Okay.
Simpsons.
Okay. We're going to stay in Epcot for our next bit of news. The Flower and Garden Festival is coming up. That's the one that follows the Festival of the Arts, and we got the Garden Rocks concert lineup. Here's my slight gripe here with Disney. I think they're getting outdone with their concert lineups. So we're gonna talk about Universal Mardi Gras. They have their concert lineup out there. I don't have the list in front of me because we don't really talk about SeaWorld very much, but they had their concert lineup for their Seven Seas Food Festival. And I think both of them are a little bit more impressive than this lineup at Epcot for Flower and Garden. So I have a couple or a few of them here that I took down that stood out to me. One of the new additions this year is just the music of ABBA. They didn't even really say who's performing, so I don't know who this is. Is it
Maybe it's just
karaoke?
records.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're just gonna
They're just
put
playing
in,
music, selections from ABBA albums throughout the years.
yeah, they're just putting their discography on shuffle. That's all that's happening. Simple Plan, Sugar Ray, A Flock of Seagulls, Plain White Tees. They've all been at the Flower and Garden Festival in years past, and they will be back this year. But yeah, I don't know, just didn't
That is a
really.
selection of one-hit wonders
That's true.
right
By the way,
there.
have I
I mean,
told my Plain White Tees story, my college
no,
experience with that band on this podcast?
not at all.
So my school, we had a big concert every year. Couple of the other names, Sean Kingston was one of them, Lupe Fiasco. But Plain White Tees was supposed to perform at my school, and the day of, they just said, "Nah, we're sick, can't perform." So they just bailed on us, and so my school was obviously not very happy. And to this day, my favorite newspaper headline I have ever seen came from my school newspaper. It was "Plain White Tees, Tease."
Nice.
It doesn't get better than that.
It does actually. I had a kind of a similar experience one time near your neck of the woods at Tampa Stadium. I went to see um, for my birthday in September, many, many, many moons ago. I went to see Genesis perform
Okay.
at Tampa State at the stadium, where the Buccaneers play,
Hmm.
and they got on. Everybody's real excited. It was sold out show. 3 songs in, Phil Collins said, "Yeah, I'm not feeling really well. My voice is going out, so we either stop performing and risk hurting my voice, or I continue and or we quit now and
Yeah, yeah,
save
yeah.
my voice." And you've never seen 50,000 people get like literally ticked off simultaneously in your life because there was, people were burning stuff outside the stadium after this, and
Yeah.
they did the contractually obligated 3 songs, so there were no refunds.
That's wow. That's brutal.
Yes, it was brutal.
Oh man, that yeah, that's a little bit worse than like canceling a college concert. But yeah, that's not great. So Flower and Garden runs March 4th, by the way. That's the start, and then runs through June 1st. So this is a much longer festival than what we've had, what we have right now with Festival of the Arts, which runs until February 23rd. And then obviously the Festival of Holidays is only about a month long. So now we get to the Flower and Garden and then Food and Wine, which are both several months long. So um, yeah, looking forward to Flower and Garden. But
Do you see any,
like
do you see any pros or cons to say like longer festivals versus shorter festivals and more of them?
I definitely do. I think the shorter festival makes sense. Well, I think Festival of the Holidays it's hard because like I want to say it's too short, but also you know, I don't want a holiday event beginning in like October. So, but a month long festival is a little bit too short because it's difficult to plan to visit. you know. That being said, Food and Wine, I feel like I go to Food and Wine on opening weekend, and then I go back 3 months later. I'm like, oh yeah, this is still happening. And it's all the same stuff. I mean, there's usually like one booth that changes out its menu as you go through the event, but the rest of it's all the same. And I think, Festival of the Arts is like the right amount of time. You get it to experience it, like, for me as a local, I get to experience it probably twice, which is, I mean, obviously, yes, there's a lot of food and drinks you can try, but I get to try most of the things that I want to. I think that's about, it keeps it fresh that way.
Very cool. All about keeping it fresh.
Let's jump over to the West Coast, Eric. For you, we're going to talk some Disneyland Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which I'm
Yeah.
sure you saw this story. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Actually, I'm kind of on the fence on this one, but Disney announced that Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge is going to expand to include the original trilogy starting on April 29th. And what that means is currently, and when it was announced, it was Galaxy's Edge was going to be locked into the sequel trilogy, the Rey and Kylo Ren and Finn and Poe Dameron, these characters. Those are the only ones you could see.
Not quite as popular trilogy.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. To put it nicely. It's that's changing. It's going to include the original trilogy. We're going to see Darth Vader and Imperial stormtroopers wandering around looking for Luke Skywalker, who will also be there. Leia and Han Solo will also be there. You'll be able to meet all of these characters. But at the same time, in a separate area of Galaxy's Edge, the sequel trilogy characters like Rey will still be around. So, you're kind of getting the mix of both here. We're also getting John Williams scores featured throughout Galaxy's Edge. That I love. I'm all on board for that. And then the Cantina Band will be playing in, that iconic Cantina Band song will be playing in Oga's Cantina. And then, by the way, Oga's is now closed for refurbishment for these changes. So you cannot experience Oga's Cantina right now. Again, this begins April 29th. It's expected. We don't have an opening date for Oga's yet, but people were speculating like late March, probably, as they get ready for those changes. So I'm just curious, what do you think about this? Because, they're going from this immersive setting, albeit in a setting that we don't necessarily like as much. But what do you think?
Well, I'm kind of in favor of bringing in more, mixing our metaphors in terms of the Star Wars universe together.
Yeah.
One thing I am a little bit would be hesitant to see is they have to make sure that they can't have the same characters from different Star Wars eras appearing at the park in the same time. And I kind of think the immersiveness is better that it includes multiple timelines in the Star Wars universe, right? I think it was great that you were in the sequel stuff, right? The trilogy stuff with Rey and Poe Dameron timelines and all of that stuff, right? I like the immersiveness, but I kind of think that the immersiveness of being in Galaxy's Edge maybe has worn off a little bit. And you don't see a lot of the characters running around Galaxy's Edge in terms of just like standard cast members and stuff, like living up to their parts, where they stay like 100% totally in character throughout your entire experience there. A little bit of that luster has kind of come off of it, so I like the idea of the trying to fresh and keep it new.
Okay, yeah, I am mostly on your side here. I agree. I do like. My whole thing is, I like in this particular instance getting the original trilogy back in there because, I mean, let's be honest, it's better. I think we can say it's objectively better. Like, there just aren't Star Wars fans out there who are like, I only like the sequel trilogy. Maybe you are out there. I'm sorry if that's the case, but I think it's just, it's the original trilogy. It's what people expect when they go to see. You hear Disney has a Star Wars land. You're expecting to go and see Darth Vader. You're expecting to go and see Luke Skywalker. Maybe not so much Rey, or I guess Mandalorian and Grogu, wildly popular right now, obviously. But it's just people expect the more iconic characters to be there. On the other hand, though, I loved the immersiveness, and that is sort of the theme park buzzword of the last like decade is pushing the immersive experience, and that does require this like line lock, like this is where you are, this is when you are. So I don't like the precedent being set because I think this is Disney saying, well, people want to see these characters, so let's give them these characters. It doesn't matter where, what planet, whatever we're on. So I hope this doesn't change things. And I can't even really think of an example where this would translate, right? Like, Cars Land, like becoming like Cars 3. Is that much different? I don't really even know. But I just hope we can keep getting these types of immersive experiences. Like I think they did it great with Avengers Campus because they told you right from the beginning, this is a different universe. This is not the films. This is not the MCU. You're not seeing this version of the characters. This is and Marvel, lends itself better to this because you got Earth 616 and now you got Earth 109999. So you can go with whatever Earth you want to go with. And so it doesn't have to be locked into that. The multiverse allows you to play with it a little bit more. But I just hope we can continue to get those sorts of immersive experiences that aren't just like Star Wars land. This is Batuu, this is Galaxy's Edge. There's a specific story being told here in this theme park, not just here's what your fandom is.
Yeah, so you pulled the Bryan on me and you actually stole my analogy because I was going to go right into the whole Marvel Avengers Campus area because that's the place where you get to go see the heroes and villains in the Avengers or in the Marvel universe, right? It's not time locked. It's not locked into a specific multiverse planet, time frame or number version. It's everything that you could possibly, want to get out of a Marvel experience. And I like the fact that they're bringing that into the Star Wars experience. And I think that Galaxy's Edge will be great and reflective of that. So I like the idea that they're bringing this in. I don't like the fact that it's going to be closed during my visit in April. Things are going to be closed at some point in time. So, I really need to get Rise of the Resistance back up and running so that I can, visit that when I am there and around Easter weekend.
I would think something like Rise of the Resistance will be open for you. That's
scheduled for refurbishment.
Is that not reopened by then?
Yeah, it's not on the news. It's on the news this week, but I read that it was scheduled for refurbishment starting in early March through TBD April.
When is Easter week? I'm just saying I would think they would want to have it open for Easter weekend just because that's a busier time. But I could be wrong. I mean, maybe they won't be. I don't know. I am kind of, even for everything I just said about wanting the immersive experience, I am kind of hoping that we get this in Disney's Hollywood Studios as well. I would like to see the Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo meet and greets. By the way, one of my favorite little details in the descriptions here was that Han Solo is going to be, keeping an eye on his prized Millennium Falcon, but also kind of being drawn towards the local cantina. So you might see him in Oga's Cantina. I love that detail. I think that's a really fun little character experience. And Oga's with the Cantina band. That sounds awesome. I love Oga's already.
Well, wait. So we got to be clear. Are they actually going to have the Cantina band play, or is it just the music?
That I don't know.
Cantina band.
So it just said, so that was kind of lumped into the John Williams score. So it makes it seem like it is just the music. However, why would Oga's need to be closed for a refurbishment for like a month, or actually multiple months? If it's just that, like, you don't need to close for refurbishment to change out the soundtrack. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what that'll look like.
Rumors here and try to get one started that they're actually going to put, the band in there, and that's why it takes so long to be closed for.
I would love that. That would be so cool. Like I said, hope we get that here in Disney's Hollywood Studios as well. So we're both pretty much on board.
Tiny lip woman, if they have that tiny lip woman singing that song over and over again, I might claw my face off, especially after a couple of strong drinks.
but somehow she's actually still CGI. She's just
Yes.
CGI'd into the bar.
She could be a Pepper's Ghost effect.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, actually, a couple more pieces of news. We're going to jump to Universal, though. We're going to stay on the West Coast first here. Tickets are now on sale for Universal Fan Fest nights. Um, There'll be 12 select nights from April 23rd through May 16th, 2026. Neither of us got to experience Universal Fan Fest nights when it debuted last year. However, we did have Patrick O'Connor, Destinations Travel Advisor, join us to talk about his experience there, and he raved about this event. It sounded really, really cool. I'm hoping that I get a chance to check this out at some point in the future. I don't know if I'll get out there this year, but it does sound really good this year too. We've got a Scooby-Doo meets the Universal Monster walkthrough on the backlot, the iconic Universal backlot. What else we have? One Piece Grand Pirate Show in the Waterworld Theater. I know a lot of people love One Piece. It's one of the big properties out there right now, so that's awesome. Dungeons and Dragons is returning, the Secrets of Waterdeep, so that I'm not sure if that experience is going to change. It looked really cool and was very popular, so I don't think you need to change it really. We've also got a new Forbidden Forest adventure in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and of course the colorful Yoshi meet and greets return to Super Nintendo World. What stands out to you, Eric? What do you most want to see at Universal Fan Fest nights?
Well, first of all, when Patrick's down in Southern California, I'm down in Northern California. When they made the announcement, I could hear this big loud woohoo coming from the south. So I know he's very super excited about that. I like. I kind of like to see. I like Scooby-Doo. I mean, I like Scooby-Doo a lot. I'd kind of like to see that. I'm kind of excited about the Forbidden Forest adventure.
Yeah, I'm curious.
In Wizarding World, because I'm kind of, I need a little bit more Wizarding World experience out of my Universal trips next time around. So hopefully that would be very cool. I would like to go see this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with my impending Disneyland trip, but these all look like they're really awesome attractions.
Yeah, that Scooby-Doo meets the Universal. First of all, seeing the Universal monsters on the Universal backlot sounds like an out-of-body experience. But interacting with the Scooby-Doo gang should be a lot of fun. Last year on the backlot, they had a whole Back to the Future experience that they knocked out of the park. It looked so cool. So if this is on that same level, I would expect something really, really cool. And again, tickets are available now for Universal Fan Fest nights. And they start at just $74. That gets you into the park at 7:30 p.m. and the event runs until 1:30 p.m. or 1:30 a.m. And your favorite attractions are open for this as well, so you get to really experience the park with these added attractions. It's also a cool sort of vibe to this event. They encourage cosplay. It's sort of like it's Fan Fest nights. It's like a convention, like a Comic-Con type of thing at Universal Studios Hollywood. So it's just really cool.
Yeah, I just wonder how many hot Velmas will be walking around down there versus the nerdy Velma version.
I'm sure the ratio will be skewed in that direction, yes, for sure. Okay, like I said, one more piece of Universal news before we get into our main topic, and we might as well talk some Universal Orlando because that is where our main topic will be going anyway. So we got the announcement finally now of the Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift officially coming to Universal Orlando in 2027. And as a result, Fast and Furious Supercharged will be closing in 2027. I am excited about this. I like, I like that we get a Fast and Furious coaster. It looks really awesome in Hollywood. It'll obviously be a little bit different in Orlando because we're not building it into the side of a mountain.
Yeah, you don't have the landscape to work with like they do
right
there. And part of the appeal of that coaster is the fact that it is literally built into the side of a mountain.
Definitely, yes. And it is very clear. This is my one issue with this. It's very clear that this is, let's copy and paste from Universal Hollywood because it's still called Hollywood Drift, despite being in Universal Orlando in the New York section of the park. So,
at least they didn't call it Orlando Drift or I-5
Orlando Drift doesn't really work. Yeah, I don't know. New York Rush Hour. I'm not sure what you want to call it, but I feel like they could have rethemed just a little bit to make it fit. But I think the big win here, though, is that this is resulting in the closure of Fast and Furious Supercharged. There have been rumors for what might take over that building for a new attraction in the future. it just I don't. I'm sorry. Like the Star Wars sequel trilogy. If that is your favorite attraction, I'm sorry, you're the only one. Nobody that's just not anybody's favorite. Did you ever get a chance to experience it?
I have, yes. And,
Yeah,
there's only 400, of these movies out there right now. So
right.
it's like, kind of might not want to not do that anymore. Beating that horse.
Yeah, so I will be very curious to see what we get in that space in the future, but we do know we are getting Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift opening in 2027. I would imagine probably 2028 for whatever attraction takes the place of Supercharged. But that's just my guess. That has not been announced. All right. You want to get into our main topic here as we're talking about Universal Orlando already?
Let's dive in.
So we are talking Universal Mardi Gras, and that begins officially on February 7th, runs through April 4th. So you got a little bit of time to get out there and experience Universal Mardi Gras. Now, Eric, you have never been to Universal Mardi Gras, correct?
I have not. I've been to the actual Mardi Gras, but I've not been to the Universal version of it.
So in talking to destinations and travel advisors, I was very surprised at how many times I got that answer. A lot of them have been to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. So tell me about your experience with Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Tell me what you can tell me on this podcast about your experience with Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
I can tell you that it was a very interesting experience. The food is amazing, of course. If you
Yeah,
like that genre of food, which I absolutely love.
I'm with you
Had
there. I
some of the,
love, yeah, that Cajun. Absolutely.
had some of the best dining experiences, both like on the street level as well as in a restaurant that I've ever had in my entire life there. It's 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 literally a big, humongous party that really doesn't ever stop. So you kind of have to be in the mindset for that sort of a thing. And I went back when I was in college, and
Sure.
I was in the mindset back then and collected a lot of beads and did all of that stuff and got pulled
That's
up on a
cool.
float, a bunch of other things. So it was a very, very cool experience all around. And it's something that you should do,
Yeah,
just for the
that it
experience of it.
has for everything you just said has kind of been like, I kind of want to do it, but I kind of don't. But yeah, it does sound like fun. Maybe we should do a full episode on Mardi Gras in New Orleans in the future. We'll talk to some of those other advisors who said they've also been. But
That'd
yeah,
be
for
cool. Yeah.
Universal Mardi Gras, take everything you just said, turn it PG, and allow an easy escape from the crazy party energy. There is a party energy throughout the entire park, but you can very easily step outside the gates to escape it as well. So, but that being said, Mardi Gras Universal is a lot of fun. One of the probably the big feature of it is the nightly parade. They have some really, really amazing parade floats. There are a few that are featured every year, and then sort of the middle section of the parade is new themed floats that are created in tandem with Kern Studios, who actually creates the Mardi Gras floats in New Orleans. So it's like really authentic. Like you get the experience of the real Mardi Gras in that way, not the full experience, obviously. But
What do you mean by that?
we don't have to. Again, we could do another podcast maybe that has a different rating. But um,
Yes, yes, you could, especially all around that.
So the new floats this year, like I said, they do a few that have a different theme. This year's theme is they're going to be New Orleans Mardi Gras traditions. So the music, the food, the beads and doubloons, and all of that, all of the fun stuff that comes with Mardi Gras. That's going to take on that. Some of those floats are going to take on those themes, which should be really cool. Do not miss the parade. This is one thing that like I said, I think it's the experience of Mardi Gras. There are guests actually that get to be in the parade on the floats, and we'll talk more about that momentarily. But just watching the parade, these guests are so excited to be throwing beads out to you. And if you're not paying attention, you will get hit in the face with some beads. But I always see guests leaving with like 12 pounds of beads just wrapped around their neck walking out. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a little excessive for me. I don't need that many, but it's a really fun, like I said, big party atmosphere, really fun experience. The music is going the whole time. And the floats are really impressive. So the parade is a lot of fun. That being said, the more fun part of it is actually being on a float. And you can do this. in a number of different ways. First of all, if you're a Universal Orlando annual pass holder, which I am, and you get a chance to reserve your spot to be in the parade one time, which I have, and I will be sharing that experience again on the YouTube on the Destination to Travel YouTube channel, youtube.com/D2Travel. So keep an eye out for that. That window has already closed. So if you're a pass holder, sorry if you didn't get a spot, but you can also get in through the ride and dine experience, which is you book a dinner at one of several amazing restaurants out on Universal City Walk. Enjoy your meal and then go and have your reserved spot on a float. Get to throw out beads to guests as you make your way around the park. Or there is also, they do sometimes offer like a standby situation. They have done virtual queue in years past. I think last year they did not. It was just kind of you go and you check in to see if there's any open spots. And they do like the registration for this over by the animal actors stage. So if you're there and you're thinking you might want to get on a parade float, just walk over there, later in the day, a couple hours before the parade starts, and just check in with the people at the tables there and see if it's possible that you can get a spot on one of the floats, because it is. I mean, it sounds so silly, but it's so much fun. Like I can't even explain the feeling when you're up there throwing beads out, and for whatever reason, every guest looking up at you wants those beads so badly. It is just, the energy is infectious, and then you lock eyes with somebody and you throw them beads and they catch it. It's just an awesome, like, crazy experience. Again, it sounds silly and simple, but it's just so much fun. I've described it as like some of the most fun you can have in a theme park. It's just a really great time.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, my experience in real Mardi Gras in New Orleans was a little bit different. I got kind of shanghaied off the street. Some rather large woman dressed as a vampire kind of ran out, grabbed me, and threw me on the float and handed me a bunch of beads. And I got stuck and lost my party that I went to, and had to meet them back at the hotel many hours later. But yeah, that's a very cool experience to be able to throw beads. It's people do want the beads for whatever reason it is, whether it's in New Orleans or at Universal. It is kind of neat to be able to make people happy that way.
I just want to see the warehouse of storage for these beads that Universal has, because the amount that get thrown out every single night, and again, from February 7th through April 4th, I mean, thousands of beads get thrown out every single night. So it's got to be just a crazy amount that they have. Another big draw of Universal Mardi Gras is their concert series, like I talked about earlier. And I personally think they win this concert battle a little bit between them and Disney. And I'll run through the full lineup here since we're talking Mardi Gras. You tell me if there's anybody here you'd want to see. There's a few names on here that I at least am more interested in going to see. I probably still won't, just because, I have a 1-year-old at home. I'm probably not going to be staying out at a concert at Universal. But here's the full list. We've got Cascade, Portugal the Man, Ivy Queen, Joey Fatone and AJ McLean, which is interesting. RuPaul, who's doing a DJ set, speaking of interesting. Shaggy, Tyler Hubbard, BB Rexa, Zed, Bare Naked Ladies, and the All American Rejects. Any of those stand out to you, Eric?
Oh yeah, I'd go see BNL in a heartbeat. I've seen the Bare Naked Ladies multiple times throughout like the 2000s and stuff, and they always put on a good show no matter what version of that they have on stage. I've seen the All American Rejects. They also really do a good job.
Yeah.
I would like to see actually Portugal the Man. I've never seen them in concert, so that would be kind of interesting. I'm not really in see Joey Fat One or anybody else. So I think I would go, I would probably skip everybody else on the list.
I've actually also seen Bare Naked Ladies a couple times, so that's fun. Yeah, Zed is a fun one. Zed is one of those that like you don't recognize the name, but if you looked up on Apple Music, you're like, oh, I've heard his top 12 songs before. Lots of big radio hits and things like that. Shaggy's fun. That's a fun one to a little bit of a throwback. And then I found it interesting that it's Joey Fatone of NSYNC and AJ McLean of Backstreet Boys. That's probably it's probably going to be a fun interesting concert.
Sure. Yeah.
I have been to a couple of Mardi Gras concerts in the past. I saw Pitbull there, which was huge. Like the crowd leaving that afterwards was crazy. So that was a lot of fun. And that's another one too that you hear you watch a Pitbull show and it's like, oh, I forgot 30 seconds on that song, and he just plays like 40 of those in a row. So that was fun. Macklemore I saw at Universal as well, which was a lot of fun. So yeah, these concerts get pretty big, and they do a really really great job. And yeah, if there's a name on that list that you feel like that stands out, that's somebody you want to see, I definitely recommend doing it. There are people who camp out like early, if it's a really popular one at least. People will like go and stand by the stage all day. You don't necessarily have to do that. There's probably going to be standing room like all over the place that you'll be able to see the stage still, and be able to walk up like maybe an hour before the concert starts. That being said, and there's no names on this list this year that are like this level, but years ago they had a Fall Out Boy concert for Mardi Gras, and the park was, I remember seeing aerial photos of people lined up at like Men in Black, which is in the back of the park. Right. So yeah, they probably won't make that mistake again.
Well, I mean, maybe they need to invest in an actual concert venue with seats.
Well, you know what? They do have one over in Islands of Adventure, but I mean, that's not where the event is. So I don't know. Of course, another big draw of Universal Mardi Gras is the food. The full menu is still to come at this point for Universal Mardi Gras. However, there are a few that have been teased. So we've got there's, by the way, it's International Flavors of Carnival. So you've got booths for different countries.
Yeah, that explains the first entry on our list. That
Yeah. That would have been confusing. I did not explain that to Eric. I'm sorry. The first list is Austria, where you can get a Vienna-style pork schnitzel, which, doesn't exactly scream Mardi Gras. No. Yeah, so they do have, like, it's an international party. There are booths around the park for different countries. For example, Puerto Rico, the Pinchos de Lechon, which is a pork skewer that they had for the first time last year. And oh man, that was some of the best like festival food I've had in a theme park. So good. So I definitely recommend that one. And then of course there's the New Orleans classics, beignets, the king cake, the jambalaya, that sort of thing. So lots of really good food for Universal Mardi Gras as well.
Yeah, you can't go. You cannot go wrong with any type of Cajun New Orleans dish.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. There's, they always have a like a fried green tomato po' boy as well. That is really good. So yeah, I recommend some of that New Orleans food, definitely for sure. And then the final piece that I wanted to mention too was the tribute store. So I've mentioned the tribute stores, I don't know how many times on this podcast and how many times in our live streams on our Facebook. Universal does 4 tribute stores throughout the year, typically at least. There's one for Mardi Gras, there's one for Halloween Horror Nights, there's one for the holidays, and then usually there's one for the summer. The Mardi Gras tribute store in years past has had themes like a cryptid museum or the float factory where all the parade floats are being built. These stores are incredible. I mean, you hear store and it's like, okay, whatever, that's where I can go buy the Mardi Gras merch. And yes, you can, but the theming is off the charts in these stores. There's so many details. You can really like look around them all day and still not catch everything. Definitely recommend checking out the tribute store. When you go to Universal Studios Florida, odds are there's one open. Like I said, they're throughout the year for the most part. So definitely check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. In favor of checking out stores and any shopping opportunities that I can get my hands on. So
yeah, that's I mean, it's not some people don't need the hard sell for the shopping experience in the theme parks, but these stores are very impressive for everybody to enjoy. And I think the best part about Universal Mardi Gras, by the way, is that everything is included in your regular admission ticket. This is not a hard ticketed event. You do not have to purchase any sort of enhancement. Like I said, you can do the float ride and dine experience if you want to, but you don't have to do that to experience Universal Mardi Gras. So that's one of the great things about Universal's events outside of Halloween Horror Nights, of course. But again, yeah, just included in your regular tickets. Your favorite attractions operate as they normally would as well. So you'll still be able to go and ride Revenge of the Mummy, Men in Black Alien Attack, E.T. Adventure, all of those still operating normally. So yeah, it's just a big enhancement to the park as a whole.
Yeah, it's like getting a bonus on top of a bonus, right? So you get to go to the theme park as a bonus, and hey, look, there's all this other cool stuff that you can do while you're there that you not normally have to do.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it runs February 7th through April 4th. And if you would like to get out to Universal Orlando to experience Universal Mardi Gras, Eric can set you up with that. Eric, how can the people reach you?
Oh, they can always reach me via email at ERICHILES at d2travel.com. And that's Eric Hiles at d2travel.com.
Yeah, and of course, if you want to just reach out to Destination to Travel in general, you can head over to d2travel.com or send us an email at info@d2travel.com if you have any more questions about Universal Mardi Gras or maybe Universal Orlando in general. Okay, so that does it for our main topic for this episode. Are you ready for a game?
I am ready for a game, and as usual, I have a surprise in one of my responses for the game. So
interesting. Okay, so we're doing something we've never done before. We are going to do a little top 5 back and forth here. And since we're talking about Universal Mardi Gras, we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite theme park events. So we can go to any theme park here. We're not locked into Universal or just Disney or whatever. We can go to whatever theme park event we've been to. I mean, I guess we don't necessarily have to have been to it. It just, we're talking about our favorites, so probably have been to them.
I mean, yeah, you have to go there if it's a favorite, I would think.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, so we're going to go count these down. We're going to go from our number 5s. We'll go back and forth, and then we get down to our number 1, our top theme park event. Do you want to kick us off, or do you want me to start it?
I can kick us off, and
okay.
I was struggling with the order on this, on how to rank them, so I
me too.
Kind of gave up and just, I think I'll just shoot from off the cuff on this. But I would say coming in at number 5 would be Disneyland Lunar New Year celebration at California Adventure.
Oh, cool.
We went down there last year for this. Me and my son did, because it was, they were also kicking off the International Food Festival there, and it was kind of like right, at the close of the Lunar New Year celebration, and I had to go for a training session, and I could bring a guest with me for this training session. I'm one of the few ones that I get to do that with, and me and my son went, and we had a blast, and we went around and just spent the entire probably 2 days of park time sampling food across both the Lunar New Year celebration and then the international the food festival at the California Adventure.
I do remember this because I remember getting the pictures from you that we shared on our social media. So I was seeing all your pictures and being very jealous from home. I actually have been to Lunar New Year, and I did have a good time. We had some good food. We enjoyed the parade. So yeah, that is a fun event over in Disney California. Disney California Adventure is one of my favorite parks, maybe my favorite park in general. So love being there, and any time of the year. But that is a fun event. Okay, my number 5. I think I'm going to surprise you a little bit with this one because I'm joining you on the West Coast for this one. I'm going to go with Disneyland After Dark Sweethearts Night. Now, specifically Sweethearts Night because that's the one I've been to, but Disneyland After Dark events, I could not speak highly of enough because they are such a cool experience, especially for me, somebody who is not a local to Disneyland. Getting to get in the park when it's much less crowded. We were there for, I think it was like 5 hours for a Disneyland After Dark event. We knocked out 10 attractions in that time, and it's not like we were rushing through them. We were taking our time. We had some food. We did some of the fun party photo ops. We might have done a character meet and greet or two, but these Disneyland After Dark events are fantastic, and Sweethearts Night was really great. So I definitely recommend checking these out. They have some fun ones. They have Star Wars Night. They have there was Disney Channel Night is another one coming up this year. So again, ask your Destinations Travel Advisor about Disneyland After Dark because there's probably an event that's perfect for you.
Yeah, and you Bryan me on this one.
Did I really?
Because that was going to be, it was going to be higher up in my list. So,
well, I mean, if you want to, you can leave it. We can discuss it when you get to it on your list, or if it happens to be your number 4, then it's up right now.
It's not. But I'm gonna move it to number 4 because you snaked me on this one.
Okay.
Disneyland After Dark is a fantastic, especially the Sweethearts Night. My wife and I did an anniversary thing down there where we had dinner at
nice.
the full course dinner at Napa Rose, and
Oh,
then
very
went
cool.
over to kind of like it was, date night at Disneyland. And they
Yeah.
had dancing and all of that stuff there. It was very cool. And just Disneyland after dark is just a great experience, no matter what the theme is, whether it's Disney Channel night, Star Wars night, etc., or
Mhm.
date night and Sweethearts night. It was just very cool. And staying at when you're staying at the park and you're staying in one of the hotels on property, it makes a big difference because it just enhances the experience to be that close to everything and not have to take transportation or have too far of a walk,
Yeah.
etc. So I was going to be number two, but now I've got to change my.
That's okay. If I steal another one, you can keep it where it is on the list, and you can talk about it when we get to that on your list. But
Okay.
no, that is a good one. That's funny. We had never talked about Disneyland After Dark before, so I wasn't sure that you'd ever been to any of them. But that makes perfect sense. And yeah, Sweethearts Night was a really great time. We did the same thing. It was like a sort of a date night. That was actually one of my best Disneyland. That was my best Disneyland trip ever because we got to do that, and then I think it was the next day, we got to eat at Club 33. So really, really
So you've
like
been there.
complete trip there.
Mm. Yeah, I think we might be going in April.
Yeah, I'm jealous. So good.
All right. So
Okay,
you
so
bogarted one of mine. Does that mean I get to go now again?
well, I mean
Oh,
that are you counting Sweethearts Night as your number four now?
yeah, I am because you took it off the list. So I feel like I should go with my next one.
Well, I mean you can, but then I'm going to have to double up afterwards
Okay,
anyway.
well then you go ahead, and then I'll come back with.
Okay. All right, so my number four then is I'm staying current. I'm talking about Festival of the Arts at Epcot. I mentioned earlier it's my favorite Epcot festival, and I feel like an Epcot festival has to be on this list. So I love Festival of the Arts. I think the food, despite one of the events being named for the food, I think the food at Festival of the Arts is actually a little bit better. I think this is where you get your best dishes all year round at Epcot. So yeah, and then I love seeing all the art that's available for purchase that I try really, really hard not to purchase. Seeing the amazing chalk art and then the musical acts and stuff performing. Really, really great event. Absolutely love Festival of the
Yeah, I
Arts.
purposely do not go to Festival of the Arts because I know I will really bend my credit card on the that I
Yeah.
would like to get.
Oh, there was some really cool Marvel and Star Wars stuff there
Mm.
too.
I'd like to. I'm a big
uh,
fan of like classic park attraction stuff. So
Yes, and they did have. Oh, I got to show you this one piece that I saw too. It's like a very cartoonish, like sort of like a 50s style cartoon of Walt like pointing out the like concept art for Disneyland. Really, really awesome piece.
yeah, well, my wallet is cringing right now just thinking about it.
All right, well, let's distract you then, and let's talk about number three on your
Okay,
list.
number three on my list, I'm going off the board for. So
Ooh.
Kings Island Winterfest in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, oh, that's good. That actually just made me think of some other parks I've been to also. But okay, cool. Tell me about Kings Island.
So it is, it's in the winter, right? And most of the time it's cold. They have skating on what you would consider what is called International Street, and it's the main drag that goes right down when you walk in, where they have the international fountains and everything like that. So that is the fountains are closed off. They're not, blowing water up in the air, and they freeze it, and you can skate on it.
Oh,
And they
cool.
have worked it out now where they can have ice pretty much all the time on it. Back in the day, it was a little rough because sometimes it wouldn't be cold enough to have ice and it would be a big sloshy mess. But now technology has kind of caught up with us on the skating rink stuff. So you can skate around there. They have just a massive amount of holiday lights that just saturate the park. It's on the Eiffel Tower too. So they have a huge Eiffel Tower at the end of International Street, and there's holiday music. They have some attractions open. They have a great train ride. I actually had my rear end froze to that train because I went one time. It was the coldest night in the history of Cincinnati, Ohio, and actually froze my jeans to the train because it's metal, and had to rip my jeans off. So there's a little bit of embarrassing story for me, but it's a great way to get into the holiday spirit. It's just like, especially when it snows, which it quite frequently does in Cincinnati during the wintertime. And just ice skating under the lights and the food and the festivities, the smells, the sight sounds. And they have a couple
Yeah.
of really cool like holiday shows that they do in what's called Fest House.
Yeah, that I've seen pictures of that park. Never, I haven't seen any of the Christmas stuff. But that is a beautiful park. One that I would definitely love to see someday. Um, yeah, no, that's very cool. Aside from your pantsless train ride, that sounds like a really cool experience.
Well, and the bummer thing was, during the 5 years that I worked there in marketing, they didn't have the event, and I was
Oh,
glad to see it come back. So, because it had started out kind of like a 70s type thing into the 80s, and then when I worked there, they had discontinued it like a couple of years before, and then after I came out here to Great America and stuff, they still didn't bring it back, but they just recently brought it back within like the last 10 years. So it's
very
I'm
cool.
glad to see it return.
You think you'll go back out there to see it again?
Oh yeah, I've
Oh, you
done it a
have?
couple of
Oh,
times.
nice. Very cool.
We just didn't make it out there this year. I think I will go next year and make it a point to go visit it.
That's awesome. Well, I am keeping the holiday vibes rolling with my number three because I'm gonna talk about Jollywood Nights at Hollywood Studios. I made the difficult decision to choose this over Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I love both. Both of them could have been in this list for sure. But I like Jollywood Nights a lot. I had a really great time last year. It was my first year going. The entertainment I think was just really, really good. Like just maybe just a notch up from Very Merry. The fireworks show was fantastic. I had some really cool like little surprises as we were going around. I actually live streamed this as I was walking around. Ran into Doctor Strange in Hollywood Studios, which is
Ooh.
not a character you normally see there. So character experiences are always fun. Phineas and Ferb, Duffy, you can meet them there during Jollywood Nights. And then the projections on the Hollywood Tower Hotel that happened during the holiday season anyway. But everything's just enhanced. It's a really cool experience during the holiday party. The party at the Tip Top Club over by the Tower of Terror also really cool and kind of spooky. So just a really fun event. I definitely enjoyed Jollywood Nights a lot, and I highly recommend going out to it. I actually, my sister came to Walt Disney World for the holidays for the first time, and I told her, if go to a holiday party, but I prefer Jollywood Nights, and that's what she did. She went to Jollywood Nights, and she had a great time.
Very cool. I'm very jealous. I've been over to Jollywood Nights and think it's great. I love the fact that there is the soap snow blowing in the park
Yep.
at certain locations. I think it's very cool, especially when it's kind of just I'm not going to say that word because it's not coming out right, but just the conflict between the snow and Hollywood Tower of Terror,
There you go.
right? Kind of helps make it a unique experience.
Yeah. I also I can't skip past I have to mention the What's This Nightmare Before Christmas show, the puppet show that happens inside the Hyperion Theater there. Really, really cool show. Definitely recommend. That would be my one like do not miss feature of this party.
Well, so you
But
kind of gave me got close to me on the
oh,
number two selection. So, but mine is going to be the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
okay. Yeah, I was curious. I'm glad you are including it because like I said, I feel like it deserves to be mentioned during this conversation.
Yeah, if Brian was here, we've already mentioned it like right at the top of the gate because he just want to like throttle me on the listing thing. But there's absolutely nothing cooler than being at the Magic Kingdom on holidays, right? It's
Yeah,
just
it is great.
a fantastically wonderful experience, and especially if you're there on a night in Florida where it happens to be cold, and that adds to
Right.
the ambiance, the smells as you're walking down Main Street USA and coming out of the shops and the special treats that they offer. The limited desserts, chestnuts, all of that junk. It just makes it nothing gets you into the mood for the holidays faster than being at the Magic Kingdom at Christmas time.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it is like it hits during the day as well. You can walk in there and see the wreaths and the garland down Main Street, but it's not quite the same as when you're there for Very Merry when it's like all around the park and the energy is turned up and the music and the fireworks, the stage shows. It's a fantastic event. I definitely love Mickey's Very Merry as well. My number two, I don't need to share a whole bunch of details on because we just talked about it extensively. It's Universal Mardi Gras. It's a party. It's just a really, really great time. For everything that we talked about, in our main topic discussion, Universal Mardi Gras is a lot of fun. Can't recommend it enough. Um,
There's
Again, talk to Eric or whoever your destination the travel advisor is, and get out here and let the good times roll.
So I gotta ask, how are the hurricanes at the Universal Mardi Gras?
So, I personally, I don't go for like the cocktails in the park because it's usually the pre-mixed things that are very sugary and not my favorite, not my go-to. But out in Pat O'Brien's in City Walk, they actually do have a very, very good hurricane, and that's a really fun like dueling piano bar. Definitely recommend checking that out as well. And actually, I should have mentioned during the main topic discussion too, there is the Cursed Coconut Club out on City Walk as well. The Red Coconut Club transforms for the holidays and for Halloween Horror Nights, and for Mardi Gras it becomes the Cursed Coconut Club. It has a lot of theming in there, and a themed menu, so you can check. And those are pretty much right next to each other out on City Walk. So a lot of the good times can keep on rolling after the park closes as well.
Well, and Pat O'Brien's is the place that invented the hurricane on Bourbon Street.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, not Pat O'Brien's at Universal, but Pat O'Brien's in New Orleans. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was invented there, but it was probably perfected at Lafitte's Pirate Shop, which is like a few blocks
Okay.
down the French Quarter. It's one of the oldest bars in the quarter, and I think in the world. Where they actually do float 151 rum on top of it, and
Mm.
it is the perfect hurricane.
That yeah. See, you're selling me on New Orleans with the food and the hurricanes. Yeah, I'm starting to want to go a little bit more. All right, let's finish up our game here. We got our top events to talk about here. What is your number one, Eric?
So I was torn with this one, right? I'm going with though the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a worthy inclusion for sure.
And I'm all about food and I'm all about wine. Although I would like to see more Napa Valley wines represented in Florida. But it is very, very cool. I mean, I love the fact that I can go just get amazingly good samples of dishes. And it kind of feels like the restaurants around Epcot actually up their game a little bit when it comes to the International Food and Wine Festival, because they're kind of competing against, the food booths. So I
Yeah.
like that sense of competition and the specials that you'll see pop up in your restaurant of choice around the park. So
Hmm.
try to get people to come in. You see like, you know, Space 220 offer a special offering during that time of year to compete with the festival.
Yeah.
You do that, get it at like a couple of different restaurants, although I haven't seen it at Le Cellier before, but I've got to think that they got to try to Canadianize something and come up with a special poutine or something like that would go along with the whole theme of the International Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah. It's funny because I talk about how Festival of the Arts is my favorite, and obviously Food and Wine is your favorite. We're splitting hairs because these events all have like the equivalent. The Food and Wine focuses more on the food. Festival of the Arts has the art for sale and things like that. But they all have like the same like type of entertainment. And it's just you still have your concert series for Food and Wine, which is fantastic. Um, and it's just funny, like they're all basically the same festival, just different time of year and a slightly different theme. Um, so yeah, I love Food and Wine, of course.
Absolutely.
Uh, okay, my number one. Do you have a guess, Eric? Do you think you can come up with what it might be?
Oh yeah, I do. I don't want to spoil it. I thought about including it on my list. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was curious to see if it had
put
cracked the
it
top
in
five
there.
for you, but
It might have.
of course, of course, we are talking about Halloween Horror Nights. I absolutely love Halloween Horror Nights. If you have listened to this show, you know that we have had Patrick on twice to discuss Halloween Horror Nights. As he handled the West Coast, I handled the East Coast. I am every single year I will be getting myself a frequent fear pass or some level of the frequent fear pass and visiting multiple times throughout the season. Um, it's like what we talked about with Mardi Gras, how it's your theme park and then you get a bonus. There's just other stuff added. This is you get Universal Studios Florida with 10 brand new attractions and a new show and then like another lagoon show and then 5 scare zones. It's just so much fun. A tribute store, of course, as well. The energy is off the charts in the park during Halloween Horror Nights. It's fantastic. And I am specifically talking about Universal, but I have been to Universal Hollywood as well as Eric got to see for his first time this past year. And I mean, like you said, you thought about it for this conversation, so clearly you had a really great time.
Yeah, I had a really great time. I mean, hanging out with Patrick is always really great, but it was very cool to get his insight to everything that was just going on throughout Hollywood Horror Nights. And I really struggled. I wanted to put it on there, but I've only had one experience there, so it was kind of tough to include it.
Sure, that's fair.
I need to go to Florida and see what Florida's is like.
Yeah, that might be a thing this year. We might have to do some podcast fun during Halloween Horror Nights this year.
If we get chased with chainsaws.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, did you have any honorable mentions other than Halloween Horror Nights that you thought about for your list?
Honorable mentions. No, there is one I would like to mention, but I'm not really it's not an experience that everybody can get to, but anytime that the Club 33 has a special and you have a special,
Oh, sure.
it gets
Yeah.
in, it's definitely, should be on the list, right?
Yeah, I mean the Disney Vacation Club, like after hours events too, those are a great time, but obviously very exclusive. Um, I had a few. Universal holidays are great. Love the holiday season at Universal Orlando. Um, Not so scary. You mentioned Very Merry and Not So Scary. Like I said, with the Epcot festivals, it's basically the same. Like it's got its equivalents for all the entertainment. That is probably my favorite theme park parade. I think the Not So Scary parade. Um, I also want to give a shout out. I mean, again, we don't talk about SeaWorld a whole lot, but Hallow Scream at SeaWorld Orlando, fantastic. And love Halloween Horror Nights. Hallow Scream is the scarier event. If you're somebody who wants to push the scary a little bit farther, that those houses are much more intense. So that is a different way to go if you want to do that. And then you're mentioning Kings Island made me remember Busch Gardens Williamsburg Christmas Town. Fantastic. That is a beautiful park. And I mean, decorated for the holidays, it's even better. So yeah, quite a few really great theme park events to experience. All right, let's get into our deal of the week as we get ready to wrap things up here. Talking about Universal Orlando. So right now you can enjoy savings of up to 30% off at a Universal Orlando Resort hotel on a 5-night or longer hotel stay. Other savings are also available for 4-night stays at select hotels. We are actually going to be getting out to all of the Universal Orlando Resort hotels throughout the year during our live stream. So you can check out on our Facebook. Just find us at Destinations to Travel on Facebook. And be sure to like us, follow us there so you can keep an eye on our socials and see when we go live, because I will actually be out at Royal Pacific very soon. So keep an eye out for that. Have you checked out any of the Universal Orlando hotels, Eric?
Yeah, I have a while ago. I really, really need to get down to Florida and go to Universal. I'm dying to stay at like one of the nicer hotels, especially the new one.
Yeah, the Helios.
Yes, Helios just looks fantastic. I would like to stay at Lowe's too, as well as get down, just to get into Island or to, all the parks, right? I'm dying to go to the Epic Universe.
Yeah, you got to get you over to Epic Universe for sure. We're going to have to do an episode on just your first Epic Universe experience after all of the discussions we've had from my experiences.
Yes, we do. I need to see if there's some like fam tickets or something like coming up that I can get and go to make an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's for the podcast.
Yes, it's for the podcast.
All right. Well, we have talked for over an hour now at this point, so I think it's probably about time to wrap this up. I do want to remind everyone that if you want to start planning your next vacation, whether it's Universal Orlando Resort, any of the Disney parks, Disney Cruise Line, anything like that, any vacation at all, head over to d2travel.com or send us an email at info@d2travel.com or reach out to your Destinations to Travel advisor like Eric.
At Eric Hiles at d2travel.com.
And let our advisors, like Eric, do all the heavy lifting when it comes to planning your next vacation at no additional cost to you. I can't stress that enough. It costs you nothing extra. And I mean, listen, I'm just going to, Eric earmuffs. They do all the work for you. They make everything so much easier. I have used a destination travel advisor myself. It's a no-brainer. d2travel.com or info@d2travel.com if you would like to send us an email. Eric, thank you. This was fun.
I can't believe we actually went over an hour without Bryan interrupting.
I know.
So it was a very great episode. It's always lovely to talk to you about, especially around some of our favorite topics to talk about. And
yeah,
looking forward to doing this again in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's always fun when you can get two theme park nerds just nerd out about theme parks for an hour.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, yep, that'll do it for this episode. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.